Hey, Soko Tribe, welcome back. In the last video, we did talk about the max card in Tableau. And in this particular video, we're going to be focusing on the drag and drop field mechanics in Tableau. Now, before we get started, I want us to, again, pay attention to this view right here, and then the rows and columns. Like we said in the previous videos, this is our canvas where we do all the story telling from the data that we have here on the left. All right, so just to get started, there's one thing that I want to highlight, and this is the colors to differentiate between measures and dimensions. All right, so notice what happens when I click any of these here. Right, let's just go with let's start with the data quality. Okay. When we bring the data, okay, let's just put it around here. Notice that it's in the color blue. All right, and now let's go to the lower section here, and we're going to drag and drop this one, or we could actually just bring it here, and notice that this one is in the green color. So Tableau automatically tries to differentiate these two just to make sure that it's easier for you to know what your dimensions are and what your measures are. This definitely helps you take note of where your elements are within a data view or dashboard. So let's do this. Notice how when we swap this, the axis in a way flips around. Another way that you could also do this is there is a button here that says, if we hover over it, it says swap rows and columns. So what happens if we do this? It automatically swaps whatever is in the column section for what's in the row section. So again, to remember, blue represents dimensions, and then green represents the measures that we are analyzing, essentially. All right, now that we've done that, let's bring this back. We had the exam score, so let's put it back here. All right, now notice here that when we look in the when we look here to the left, we notice that the numbers are in the K measures, right? So that's in the thousands. All right, I just highlighted this. I was trying to expand on this axis. All right, so good. Control Z. All right, so however, when we're doing the analysis on the exam scores, we probably are going to be more interested in the percentages. So if we want to change this to the percentages, there's an option to just right click on this, and then we can do a quick table calculation, right? So a calculation on the table from which we're pulling the data. And here we can decide what kind of calculation we want to do. So for now, all right, here it says percentile or percent of total. Let's go percent of total. Yeah, so we see values of around 45% to 0%. Okay, this may not be also, depending on what you're looking for, this may be the right kind of percentage that you're looking for. We're going to look at one way for you to get this new calculation added to your table, right? So essentially, if you're to go to this, we just created a new calculation in there. If you want to save this for later, all you'd need to do is simply drag this back to your pen. Notice that the moment we drag this to this side, we see calculation 2 here, so we can go ahead and call it percentage of total, right? And yeah, the moment you click enter on that, then it essentially enters a new calculation within your data tables with new data in it. And if you want to learn how Tableau essentially does this calculation. You can always right click on it, click edit, and this table here will be displayed to show you how the calculation was made. So here we see some exam score in close brackets of a total. Sum of the exam score is how we arrive at this number here. Okay, so you can essentially do this for every other future calculation. Whenever you have a calculated field, all you have to do is just right click on it, click edit, and you will come to the formula. I prefer to use this. I would say I would prefer that you use this, especially when you're getting started with Tableau calculations, since you may not necessarily have a clue about the calculations in there. But once you start getting a hang of it, it's also probably much faster to just type in the calculations by yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this and move on to the next thing that you can do. So we're going to go ahead and clear out the rows and columns right here, and we're going to look at another trick that you could potentially do in Tableau. So notice here that if we come to exam score, we're going to right click on it, not left click. We're going to right click, and then we're going to drag it right into this display here. When we do that, we are presented with the drop field, a sort of a dialog box, and it's requesting us what kind of calculation we want to do on the data, right? So if you left click and drag, it assumes you're using that data as is. But if you right click and then you drag, it does understand that you want to create a calculation. And so it's going to present you with these options. For now, we're just going to go with let's go with the average, right? So we're gonna look at the average exam score. And there we go. We see that our average is around 69.6, right? And if we were to add, gender, for example, here in our rows, then we see that for females, average is around 69.7. Then for males, it's 69.368. We could leave this here as well, and we're going to drag this back, okay, and we're going to come back to the exam score, and then we're going to right click on it again and bring it here. Hold on a moment, let's remove gender as well. So we're going to right click on it and bring it here as our first calculation, and we're going to look at, for example, the marks. Now we want to see what was the max score that someone scored. We see 100, and if we to again drag right on here, I will need to clear this first. If we're to right click again, drag here, and maybe now do another calculation, now we're looking at the minimum and we see 18. So this is a shortcut for you, essentially, for you to create calculations right within Tableau without having to write any code. All right, now that we've looked at that, let's look at another quick tool here. All right, or more like a trick. So if you have your data here, and let's say this is actually not a good example, so I'm going to remove this here. Let's look at something a bit more. All right. Let us say, for example, we had the data quality, okay, and we didn't like the way that it was organized, and we wanted to sort it, right? So one of the things that we could do is essentially we could just click on any of the values, and all you have to do is drag it to wherever you wanted, and that's going to change the order within which it's being presented within this view here. And again, like we said, you can always flip this around, and that changes the rows to columns. So instead of having your data in in the rows section here, you can swap it around and have it displaying as columns. All right, that's pretty much most of it for this particular tutorial. But again, let's go ahead and remind ourselves, whenever you right click on any of these dimensions or measures, remember that you always have these options here to transform your data depending on any particular specifications that you may have. Perhaps one other thing that we could look at is, let me drag this back here. Let's go on and focus on this dimension. So we're going to drag gender here. We're going to look at also parental education here, and then we're going to go ahead and move the exam score. Oh, I thought we'd have calculated the average score. Let me look at this calculation here. Rank percent, some exam. Okay. All right. I'll just go with the sum as is. So notice here the bar graphs being represented. If you wanted to essentially, let us say, for example, you wanted to color code gender real quick. There's two ways you could go about it. You could essentially just come here, drag this to drag gender to color, and that's going to color code your visuals, right? So you have blue for females, orange here for males, and then other you have red. Option 2 is you could move this back, and you essentially could come here to gender. You'd right click on it, and then you essentially or you just click on it, left click it will be, and you essentially drag it to to the other section. So for example, from rows to column, this actually just moved it. What I wanted was being able to duplicate it. But anyway, that is to again show it doesn't stop you if you've dragged gender here. You can always drag as many times as you want, and it doesn't have a limit as to how many times you could do this, right? But you probably don't want to do this because it doesn't make any sense. But if you wanted to get that and use it for any other things, like maybe you wanted to change the color, or you wanted it to just be a label instead of I mean, if you wanted to add a label right here on top of the bar graphs, you could also do that. Or if you also in the previous videos we talked about how you could potentially just focus on keeping this as just text without any bar graphs, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep the bar graphs for now. And yeah, that definitely sums up what we had planned to cover for this session. So again, if you have any questions, just feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will be happy to help you out with any issues that you may be having with drag and drop field mechanics in Tableau.